A very good evening to everybody in this session. We are discussing regarding the third year BHMS syllabus remedies, and we have finished ammonium muriaticum in last lecture. Yes, the ammonium group we have discussed in detail both the carbon and muriaticum. Today we are going to learn very important remedy from our Matramedica, that is the Anacardium Orientale. This remedy, in fact, I had a chance to prescribe many times. Basically, it is considered to be a remedy which works more on the mental sphere, where mental pathologies are much more marked than the physical sphere. But I will going to share two cases, one at the physical level where I have utilized it, and one is the case of typical paranoid schizophrenia who was under the allopathic medicines before that nearly about 4 or 5 years, and continuously remaining into that drowsy state and dull state with the help of those medicines. Paranoid schizophrenia is a very difficult disorder which spoils the house, because these persons creates a lot of problems inside their house and they are rather difficult to control. In fact, even with the modern treatment, allopathic medicines, it is very difficult to make them controlled. Only thing they make the control is with the giving the tranquilizers or all the medicines which are drug remedy generally, and they used to remain in that specific state as if they are not part and parcel of this universe. They remains aloof. And this case was young. This was a young fellow, 30 years, was a medical store, having medical stores, has done DMLT. There was a very his childhood was very problematic. His father was doing the job, was a very strict parent. He used to beat him a lot in the childhood. In fact, whole childhood was suppressed, dominated by the father, and he was not able to talk single word in front of him. And in fact, many times he was beaten by his father, strongly beaten. And that anger, he could not do anything, was remained inside since long time. He was not able to say anything, even with his mother also. And he developed that feeling, he lost the confidence. In fact, he was brilliant, sharp, but he lost the confidence. He he was he was having a fear to face the examinations, specifically in 10th and 12th. He was trying to avoid the examination, but with strict parental control, he appeared for the exam, but ultimately got very less marks. Then he took admission in DPharm courses, have done his DPharm. But during this period, all of a sudden, he started behaving in a wrong manner. On simple, small things, he used to get very violent, and he has beaten many of his classmates. And then it was noticed that he is going crazy in the class. Then the teachers over there in the DMLT classes, they called his parents, and then they told him that you must take the opinion of the psychiatrist for him. Then he was taken up to the psychiatrist, and psychiatrist, after taking history, diagnosed is a case of paranoid schizophrenia. And they started their typical treatment. With the medicines, for a few days, he was a little bit better, but under the control of those strong drugs, heroic drugs. And later on, the anger was still there, and one day something has happened in the college, and he beated that fellow, the next fellow, so strongly that he got injured. Then again he was taken to the psychiatrist, and they have given ECT, electroconvulsive therapy, for him, but it never worked. time being, he was in that drowsy state and all those things, but he never recovered from that. And then he got the degree. Somehow he used to got pass through the DMLT, and then he started medical store. And one day he was brought to me, and whole story was detailed by his brother, by sister, by his mother and father. All of them have given the detailed history first, and then they have brought him. When I was talking to him, he was looking little bit like this. His eyes were staring and looking at me with suspicious looks. He was so suspicious, he was not allowing anyone inside the home to go outside. Only his father used to go out, otherwise everyone should not go outside. And one day he has made so violence in the inside the house that he has closed all the doors and kept everyone out of the house. His anger was dangerous, and he was, because of those allopathic medicines continuously taking, he put on weight nearly about 96 kg, and it was rather difficult to control him when he used to get that anger, attack of anger. His mother told that he's so suspicious that someone comes to their home, he always talks, what is the purpose, for what purpose he is there, everything used to talk about, and he's always jealous and suspicious about the things. Basically, suspiciousness was very much. They have tried to make a marriage with their close relatives, but it was unsuccessful. Within a month, she went home, filed the case for divorce. And that was another thing which was there in his mind. All those things impacted a lot in his, and he has developed this mental pathology of paranoid schizophrenia. And state was rather difficult to control. In such types of cases, it is rather difficult to stop allopathic medicines all of a sudden. Ask them to continue with the same medicines, and I have started with homeopathy. I took the whole story and repertorized it, and I found this. Yes, this is close to the anacardium only. So I started with anacardium. In such types of cases, it is a mental pathology. It is not a functional. These are not the functional manifestations, but these are all the manifestations which are of a mental pathology. Here, you should not go with high potency, otherwise it might produces the aggravation. So I started with the LM, Anacardium LM, LM10. I have started with, and I have continued the LM10 for a period of 15 days. I asked them to return after 15 days. After 15 days with our medicine, and at the same time allopathic medicines were going on, he was little bit better. No quarrel, no disputes, no anger, nothing has happened, but still everything was going on in a smooth manner. But his looks were dangerous. Whenever he used to look with suspicious thought, and always looks with staring into the next person's eye. And then again, I have increased the potency of anacardium, and I have just reduced one half of the tablet, his allopathic tablet, and I have continued. I asked him to go for a walk, to start exercises, to talk, do the yoga, and I have good chat with him. This time he at least shared some memory. He first time he said he was beaten up by his father a lot in childhood, and that I could not forget, doctor. That is there in my mind. When I avoid looking at him. If I look at him, I feel too angry. I want to kill him. That was tremendous anger which was there. So I discussed all those things, and I stepped up anacardium gradually from LM11, 12, 13, 14, every 15 or 15 to 20 days. With LM20, it was much better and reduced half of the tablets, allopathic tablets. And he was following what I was telling. He started doing exercises. His weight was reduced nearly about the 8 kg has reduced. He was nearly about 89 after when he was on Anacardium 21, LM21. And it took nearly about 1.5 years to 2 years period to come out of that situation. But it was a wonderful recovery in him. Gradually, after a period of 2 years, I was successful to stop all those medicines, and he was doing good business at his medical store. Earlier, he used to talk and with himself only. He used to do like this. And next person feels that he is talking about him or he is cursing or swearing. And he used to curse earlier. That has stopped. Then his behavior has changed. But it was rather difficult case to treat with, because such types of cases never remains with you. Luckily, this fellow has continued with me since long time, and he able to came out of the situation. And this was wonderful recovery under the Anacardium Orientale. So keep it in your mind, when you get cases of paranoid schizophrenia or all those, you should not give high potency, considering mental symptoms are much more, and that's why it is necessary to give high potency. No, don't do that. You have to start with LM is the better potency to be, and you can repeat it. Should not go directly high. If you want to give it in centesimal, even low, start with low and then gradually go on increasing. That's better. Second case which I want to share with all of you is the case of 35 years female, and she used to continuously eat. She had a gastric headache, diagnosed as a gastric headache, but later on people explained that she went to many peoples. It was first diagnosed as migraine, then it was done diagnosed as a gastric headache, and she used to tell only one thing: whenever I used to get headache, I feel better by eating. That was very typical with her. And then they checked her blood sugar, and she found hypoglycemic, and they explained that because of low blood sugar, she used to eat a lot and she feels better with that, all those things, all that stuff. Yeah. Few more important things were there. Second important, that she was very hasty and hurried while eating. She used to eat very fast. It goes in favor of argentum nitricum, hasty and hurried in eating. But hasty and hurried is the nature of argentum nitricum. Regarding each and everything, argentum nitricum activity is very fast. Here it is not like that. Here it is very specifically only while eating and drinking she was hasty, and because of which she used to get choke, and sometimes even it used to get thrown away vomiting. So that was another characteristic, and she was feeling better every time after eating. That was another characteristic which was present. When I asked how this has started, she was a little bit confused, and confusion was very marked in her case. She was just 35, but still there was a lot of confusion in her mind. So I asked, what has happened? Then she told the history that, doctor, this has happened because after marriage I have very strong domination from my um, grandparents over there, and then a lot of trouble I have suffered, and then gradually it has started. And I started getting headache first, and then I used to get very severe one-sided headache, and sometimes with I used to feel like eating every time, even at midnight. I used to wake up and I used to eat. So whole story was denoting again same remedy, anacardium, but in this case I have utilized 200 anacardium in centesimal potency and given for at least 3 days, twice a day, and continued her on Kali phosphoricum 6/6. After 15 days, when she returned, she was quite fine. Her headache, no more headache. She recovered so nicely. And then she told that first time I'm feeling relaxed after taking the medicine. The whole load which I used to feel in head was relieved. And second important thing, she said that now I don't feel like eating every time. Otherwise, there was a sensation that everything is in the abdomen, in the stomach is finished, which we label by the name of all gone sensation. So she required anacardium 1M and 10M also in later course, and nearly about 6 months she continued with treatment and she has recovered completely from that. Anacardium is a very good remedy for many complaints, but mental pathology, which we have to learn a lot. We'll go with the Allen's notes, just see what is there. This remedy is very specifically, it starts all her, this remedy, all complaint starts on right side and goes to the left side and confused with lycopodium and very close to lycopodium. Difference is that lycopodium is cowardice, anacardium is hard. Very important difference is that cowardice, opinion, cowardice, and cannot react is a lycopodium. Anacardium internally cowardice but react. He's cowardice at the same time hard, and that's why he reacts. That is the big difference between lycopodium and anacardium. First sentence, in fact, of this remedy is very important. Anacardium Orientale, marking nut, anacardiaceae. Sudden loss of memory, given in bold, and this is too important. Specifically, this remedy is good remedy for the students who used to appear for examination funk. This is one more remedy other than argentum nitricum, other than gelsium. But everyone's pathology is different. Here there is a confusion is much more. Here there is a poor understanding is the factor. Gelsemium, the state is rather different. Gelsemium has a fear of appearing the exam. Here, the question is not understood the subject, and that's why fear of failure develops. Sudden loss of memory, everything seems to be a dream. Patient is greatly troubled about his forgetfulness, confused, unfit for business. That case which I have told, that he was a medical shopkeeper and used to forget whether I have taken the money from the person or not. Whenever he was giving the medicines to the customers, he was very confused. He used to forget that, and that created a lot of problem for him. So such types of sudden loss of memory is very strong with the anacardium, very marked. Disposed to be malicious, seems bent on wickedness. This is very important. Maliciousness is very marked. They used to be vindictive, spiteful, jealous. The mental pathology is so strong, they never forgets whatever happened in their life. And if something becomes fixed in their mind regarding this, they never forget. They try to keep it inside, and whenever time permits, they goes and fights. The spitefulness, vindictiveness is so marked with anacardium. That is the problem with anacardium pathology. Irresistible desire to curse and swear. That is very, very, very important. And they generally, if you observe the cases of paranoid schizophrenia, I have seen many times, they goes on muttering inside the mouth, and that is nothing but the cursing and swearing going on against the persons to whom they look for. It goes on against many peoples. Leccan, lilium teak, nitric acid are the remedies. Wants to pray continually, exactly opposite. Religious mania is stramonium. Here it is cursing and swearing in anacardium, exactly opposite. Religiousness is much more marked with stramonium. Lack of confidence in himself and others. The reason behind this lack of confidence is the parental hold, parental control, strict parental hold on them, and basically a big problematic childhood. That was the another important thing which was able to produce such a condition in them. That created the lack of confidence in anacardium. So, a wrong childhood always create the problems like anacardium. I think I have shared one case with you. Yeah, a young child, he was just in 8th standard, and he was showing all the signs of typical signs of paranoid schizophrenia. He was brilliant actually, but he started developing all those signs. Then I talked with him, and then the reason I got, his there was a tremendous disputes and quarrels going on between his parents. So I called them. I talked with them for 2 hours. I told them that If you don't stop this, your child is going or entering into the paranoid states, paranoid schizophrenia. And then whole story came out, and then I discussed with them, and then I controlled that with the from the parents, and because of that the child has survived. Now he is a very big officer. So this is the wonderful remedy one has to think of in such types of states. Feels as though he had two wheels, one commanding him to do and what other forbids. This is very typical, the confusion of mind, dual state of mind. One mind says to do the things, another mind says stop it. This is very typical with this. They cannot come to the conclusion, they cannot control and come to decision. They are always confused, and that creates the lack of confidence in them. This is the pathology which goes on increasing at the mental level. That's why it becomes rather difficult. When waking is anxious, as if someone were pursuing him, suspects everything around him. The suspiciousness is very strong. He suspects everyone around him, and always feels someone is behind them. Weakness of all the senses. All senses have been become weak. The reactions become poor, and the only reaction which happens to be there is the suspicious states. Hypochondriac with hemorrhoids and constipation. Mental state associated with the physical state. The hemorrhoids are there, the constipation is there, the hypochondriac state is there. All those things which are very typical with this remedy. Hypochondriasis is the state where the feeling is that they are ill internally. They have big problem with them. And these are the people who always considers themselves as a very ill person. Strange temper. This is very important. Laughs at serious matter and is serious over the laughable things. This is very typical with an academic because the orientation is not there. The orientation is lacking. The understanding is lacking. See, all the mental states which are very important for the person to behave, to work, to think, all those have been lost, and that is what is called as the mental pathology. That mental pathology is always there with this remedy. So strange temper, laughs at serious matter and is serious over laughable thing, thinks himself as a demon, curses and swears. So this is very strong with them. They are considered they are demon, and they always curses and swears. Cursing and swearing. Anacardium is for 4 marks. This is typical with anacardium. Sensation as of a hoop or band around the part. And this sensation is very strong with this remedy, with the cactus, with carbolic acid, with the sulfur, the band-like sensation around the head. But it is not only head. This sensation is persistent in every part in anacardium, or as of a dull blunt instrument pressing, or as of a plug in inner parts. It is close to the sepia, but sepia it is more ball-like sensation in sepia in the internal parts. So little bit differences are there with sepia and anacardium. So these are things which we have to understand. Headache. Headache relieved entirely when eating. See, this is very important. Headache relieved entirely when eating, like soranum. When lying down in the bed at night and when about falling asleep. Headache worse during motion and work. Their headache always goes on worsening whenever they try to concentrate on something. They want to do something. They want to create something. Immediately headache used to start. And only thing with which they feel better is always either lying down in bed at night or better always with the eating. That is very important thing. Gastric and nervous headaches of the sedentary persons. These are sedentary workers, never wants to do a physical work, physical exercises, and it goes more close to the argentum nitricum, bryonia, noxomica in such futures. But gastric headache, better by eating, is characteristic of this. Apt to choke when eating and drinking. Cannabis sativa, the kava kava, the nitric acid. Kava kava is piper methysticum. That is the remedy, kava kava. Swallows food and drink hastily. Symptoms disappear while eating. So whenever patient starts eating, they feel better, like califos, like sorinum. They are always feel better while eating. Stomach, there is sensation of falling, all gone. Comes on only when stomach is empty and is ameliorated by eating. Chelidonium, iodum, but concepts are rather different. Chelidonium, it is different. In iodum, it is basal metabolic rate is very high. It is hyperthyroidism. Stomach ameliorated during process of digestion, reverse of bryonia and nux. Then this is very important remedy. Warts on palms, natramure, dalkamara. So this is one more remedy. Great desire for stool, but with the effort, the desire passes away without evacuation. Rectum seems powerless, paralyzed, or with sensation as if plugged up. This plugged up sensation is very characteristic of anacardium. So there is always this typical sensation is there. Patient feels that there is urging for stool. He goes for stool, passes the stool, but with the effort, the desire is lost and there is no more evacuation. Then the constipation happens to be there. It is a very strong constipation, like platina. The constipation is there. It feels as if rectum is paralyzed and plugged up. Irregular peristalsis or overaction is the Naxomica. Naxomica, every time patient feels the urging, patient goes for closet, passes stool, few amount of stool, again comes up, again goes. This is the in case of Naxomica. Here it is different. So this is anacardium. And then relationship, very important thing which he has mentioned. Compare Rus radicans, Rus tox, and Rus veneta. These are three remedies from Rus family. In fact, it is the remedy which directly antidote the Rus poisoning. Anacardium is a very good remedy to antidote the Rus poisoning. Symptoms are prone to go from right to left like lycopodium. Anacardium is follows well as followed well by follows well after lycopodium and pulsatilla. Anacardium follows and is followed by the platina and is again goes more in closer with the platinum. So we have anacardium pathology where the it is together picture of lycopodium and nux comes together. It is the lycopodium's cowardiceness which is there at the same time nux vomica's the dashingness, both the things comes together. But here basically the loss of sudden loss of memory because of the mental pathology, because of the mental harassment which has been done earlier, that has created and developed the pathology in anacardium. So anacardium is a very good remedy for the mental states more commonly than the physical state. But physical states are also, you should not forget. My suggestion is that don't go only with the Allen's notes. Read this remedy from the Borixma Remedica. Read this remedy from the Kent. Read this from the Mathematics of Haiwa by George Vitulkas. You will going to get the whole concept about the anacardium. It is a rather a big polycrest. Very depicting remedy, nearly having the 40 days of action. Very deep level acting remedy. So this remedy one must learn and utilize in their practice. And many times you'll see that very fast it shows its results. If remedy is right, it works so fast. Only thing is that look towards the doses. You should not get it confused that mental state is there and give high potency. It should not be done with anacardium because here it is not functional mental pathology. Here the real pathology of mind which you are going to see in this remedy. So OCD cases, the mental maniac depressive cases, then the paranoid schizophrenia states. These are the big areas where this anacardium works. And with the sudden loss of memory, senile dementia, another important role anacardium plays over there. So don't forget this remedy while mm, in practice as well as from exam point of view. My suggestion is that you from exam point of view, this remedy can be asked as a full drug picture also. So prepare this remedy properly and the mental state of anacardium. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we'll meet and we'll learn one more remedy in tomorrow's session. If any query is there, we can have a chat. Otherwise, we'll conclude. So good night to everyone and thanks a lot for attending session. Be there tomorrow. We'll start with another new remedy. Good night.